Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees dropped Game 1 of the American League Division Series against Toronto by a score of 10-1 there. And I know you look at the 10 there and say, wow, but really didn't tell us the whole story there. Again, they kind of left Blackburn in there at scrub time to sort of take one for the team there. But nevertheless, Yankees dropping the opening game of this 5-game series. But overall, I still think the Yankees will take this series in 4 games, and I'll get into that after that. So make sure to subscribe to this podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Get little updates after each game. Of course, we have the whole off-season ahead of us as well, and there's also a YouTube version of the show. As much as you want to hear me, I know you love to see me, so go to YouTube, search for Section 420 Talkin Yankees, and subscribe there as well. So, Yankees riding high after the Boston series, winning Game 3 there, and Cam Schlitter, the toast of the town, got the keys to the city for now, because very short-lived as the Yankees had to start the series up in Toronto, and of course, since Toronto is the division winner, they get the home field advantage, so Game 1, 2 at Toronto, 3-4 in New York, and then Game 5, if necessary, in Toronto. Now, the opening game, get to that in a second, but I just want to give us a kind of quick thoughts before the game. The series started where I kind of mentioned again, I do like the Yankees in the series, and I do like them in 4 games. Reason because if you look at both teams, again, overall, I guess Toronto had handled the Yankees well during the regular season, but again, those are points at the season where I just felt the Yankees weren't at their best. Also, though, going into the series, Toronto without some key pieces, one of them being Bo Bichette, as well as Max Scherzer. Now, Max Scherzer obviously is kind of a broken down guy, so I don't think that really kills him, as well as Chris Bassett. So really what that means is that after Kevin Gausman, who was the Game 1 starter, you have a lot of inexperience, and right now you go into a playoff scenario that basically Toronto's will be looking at almost a bullpen game for games 2, 3, and 4. So that being said, and who the Yankees have lined up after Game 1, which is kind of Luis Gil, which is, I don't know what you're going to expect out of the guy. Again, he hasn't pitched over like 8 days there, and again, he's not one of your top really starters there, so it was kind of a throw-up game in anywhere there. So, and kind of went as you more or less expected, even though the Yankees did have an opportunity to maybe steal it. But nevertheless, if you just look at who the Yankees got lined up as starters versus Toronto, who again more or less going to be throwing 3 bullpen games after Game 1, you like the Yankees' chances in the series. And then, of course, I mentioned before, them just missing an important piece like Bo Bichette. And if you just look at it up and down the lineup between the two squads, again, roster-wise, at least the names on the back, the names there and the resumes on the back of the baseball cards, I still like the Yankees roster on the series. That'll be the same, brings us to Game 1, where you kind of figure this is going to be the situation. And Toronto, again, hasn't been in the postseason since 2016. So for these people up there, and I don't know how much is going on, I know they love the hockey in Toronto, but if you're a Toronto Blue Jay fan, you're jacked up, you're amped up for this. So this is what it's going to be. You're going to get your big kicks out. You're going to get your hurrahs out and the whole deal. So, again, more or less it kind of went how you thought it was going to go. And Kevin Gausman, give him credit, he threw a really good game. And he pretty much smothered the Yankees for about 5+ innings until they finally started getting to him in the 6th inning. But before that, opposing was Luis Gil, who, he wasn't terrible, but even for the Yankees, this was more or less a bullpen game. And Gil gave up a first-inning home run to Vlad Guerrero Jr. And he also made actually a stunning diving catch in his game as well. So he had himself a good game, both sides of the ball, so to speak. But Gausman was very stingy early on there. But not like a ton of strikeouts, 3 there. But again, just really kept the Yankee hitters off balance there. They really didn't have many good pitches to hit on them. And then by the 2nd inning, Gil gives up another home run, a leadoff home run to Alejandro Kirk, his first of 2 on the day. And before you know it, Yankees behind 2-0, and then in the 3rd inning, Boone decided to maybe not let it go any further there. After a couple of hits, decided to take Gil out of the game. Maybe Boone figured, let me just keep it here 2-2. Let me bring Hill out to go lefty on lefty. And again, Boone kind of pressed all the right buttons, and for a while, this became a bullpen game for the Yankees, and the Yankee bullpen with Hill, as well as Camilo Doval, give him some credit there. It kept the Yankees within this game, and it's kept the bleeding at 2-0, and until finally the 6th inning, they were able to get to Gausman, and this was really the golden opportunity for the Yankees where they could have had the game, and really, unfortunately, a big disappointment from an Aries you wouldn't expect. The guys at the bottom lineup kind of got things cooking a little bit. You get Volpe with a hit, followed by a double by Wells there. And Yankees, at that point, putting themselves on the corners, 1st and 3rd, nobody out. You figure, at the very least, maybe get one run in there to cut the score in half. But then you start getting greedy a little bit. Trent Grisham with a really good at-bat, laid off a tough 3-2 pitch to load the bases up for Aaron Judge. And you figure, all right, this is the big moment for Judge. During the Boston series, wasn't gross, but only hit singles there. Didn't really have any big home runs or big, great moments. They say, well, this would be an opportunity right now with a big swing. Could either tie the game, put the Yankees ahead, or put them ahead for really good with with a grand salami, but unfortunately works the count for 3-2, and it swings at a terrible, again, very uncharacteristic like for him to swing way out of the zone there on a splitter way outside. Takes a strikeout. Now Bellinger works himself a walk, and again, he pretty much smelled it coming at 3-0. He took a 3-0 pitch here for a strike there, and then figured, Cosman was still a little sloppy there. Throws ball 4, so at least brings a run in there. And then after that, unfortunately, the Yankees were able to get no further. They had to go to the bullpen after that, and then afterwards, Ben Rice with a meager pop-up. And then Giancarlo Stanton get blown away on a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. And the Yankees, with the bases loaded and the meat in the order. Again, I'm not going to critique Bellinger. He did the right thing. Don't swing at bad pitches there. But you figure with bases loaded, nobody out, you got Judge, you got Bellinger, you got Giancarlo Stanton. You figured you could do a little bit more damage than just walking away with one run there. And more or less, you could say that was probably the game at that point. Again, the Yankees. So, again, for as sharp as Cosman was there, he only went into the 6th inning, and he still possibly could have stolen this game. Even with Luis Gil not able to get out of third, you're kind of running a bullpen game. But it was all kind of right there for the Yankees with everything being said where this was, this game was really tilted for Toronto to take game 1 there. Still, the Yankees had an opportunity to steal it. But unfortunately, from there, it all went downhill. Yankees starting the 7th inning off with Luke Weaver. This guy's just, I don't know, just doesn't have it. A couple of hits, a walk, ends up surrendering a run there. So the Yankees behind 3-1 with a couple runners on. Have to go to Cruz. He's no better. And pretty much from that point, the whole thing just blew open. And that's why I said don't look at the 10-1 score too deeply. Because it got to the point where then Boone just had to go with Blackburn in a sort of mop-up role, and just kind of left him out there to take his lumps, because at this point, you're not going to burn any more arms in this game. You've already used Hill, you've already used Duvall, obviously brought Weaver out, you're already using Cruz a little bit, and you don't want to tax the bullpen any further there, even though you do have an off day on Monday. Left Blackburn in there just to get rocked around a little bit. Another home run by Alejandro Kirk. Well, again, I wouldn't put too much in, but of course, if you look at the final score, 10-1, you think, oh my God, the Yankees got slaughtered and all that. Like, no. This was more or less a 2-1 game until the top of the 7th, and it all kind of just went to hell there. So I wouldn't go too crazy over the final score, but nevertheless, it's kind of what we've seen. Yet another loss for the Yankees up in Toronto. So they'll have to lick their wounds, and they're right back at it again for Sunday at 4 o'clock. And that's just one thing that bothers me a little bit. Again, I kind of mentioned even during the Boston series, I was happy all games were night games. I just don't like the Yankees in these 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock starts. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just it's New York. Yankees are a primetime team, and it just feels like they're just missing a tick a little bit when you have these day games. I was not a big fan of them, but nevertheless, they're going to have to buckle up and find a way to do it for Game 2. Now, as for Game 2 and moving forward, this is why I like the Yankees in the series. Yankees going Max Fried, who, again, threw a good game against Boston there. Unfortunately, was going against Crochet, who was just a little bit better, and again, probably one of the best pitchers in the league, so nothing to be ashamed of. But this is similar to the Game 3 situation with Connor early. You have to like the Yankees' chances in this Game 2. Again, Max Fried versus a guy who only has 3 starts at least this season before they had to go into the postseason there. So you like the Yankees' advantage there. I like the Yankees to take the next 2 in the Bronx, and then again the schedule kind of works out for the Yankees, and it's more Yankee-like. Tuesday night in the Bronx, 8 o'clock start. It's a different beast versus playing a Sunday and you kind of dip your toe in the water in Toronto and all that thing. Totally different beast. Wednesday night, a night game, but not as late. Still 7 o'clock start, and the Yankees have Cam Schlittler. You can't expect him to throw any better than he did against Game 3 in Boston, but nevertheless, you got him waiting in the wings, and if necessary, Friday the 10th up in Toronto. Now, that game would probably worry me a little bit at that point, but again, if the Yankees at least take care of business Game 2, tie this series up 1-1, and then get it back to the Bronx, I really like the Yankees' chances to finish this out in 4. Now, can they play a Game 5 and win? Yeah, but that would kind of bother me a little bit, because as we've seen there, the Yankees have had their struggles up in Toronto, and at that point, you don't really have your plus starter. Technically, Luis Gil will be signed up again to start that game, but as you can see from Game 1, were you that wowed with him? Boone kind of had the quick hook with him, but at that point, I don't know how far you're going to ride with that guy. Now, at that point, you can say, yes, well, finally, that Friday for Game 5 would be an all-hands game where even Max Fried or whoever would be available, but still, you just don't want to get it to that point. Now, if the Yankees do drop Game 2, I still think they go win the next 2 games and possibly win the series, but obviously going to be much harder to where you're forced to going to have to win that Game 5, but I'll take Max Fried over Yasevich for Game 2 there, and just hope, he could at least tie the series up at 1-1, and the Yankees could take the next 2 in the Bronx. So that's the episode. You enjoyed the champagne a little bit, beating Boston, had a day to soak it in a little bit, make fun of your Red Sox fans, rub it in for your Met fans there, but get back to business. Unfortunately, the pitching matching favored Toronto, the situation favored Toronto. It's their first home game and first playoff game in 9 years, so it was going to be hard for the Yankees to really come out and overcome all those factors. I think now they kind of got their boots settled in and everything a little bit for Game 2. They got their ace on the mound, and I think kind of from there, the pendulum should swing the Yankees' way. So we'll catch you next time.